What's up, everybody, and welcome to another amazing video inside the media cabinet. Do I have a good one for you today? Yes, I do. After getting my Jurassic World steelbook the other day, I made another purchase. But this purchase is kind of connected to a topic that I'm going to go over today in this video. Because it is one of the represented IPs or intellectual properties that are being represented at this year's event. Now, if you know what I'm talking about, buckle yourself in and prepare for an awesome video. So before we jump into all that, if you like all things physical media, whether it be 4Ks, Blu-rays, 4K steelbooks, or video games, Funko Pops, movie novelizations, playbills, and many, many more, including today's topic, Halloween Horror Nights, because it is connected with media, make sure to hit that subscribe button, and if you like today's video, make sure to drop a like. We would greatly appreciate it. And to be notified for every time that I post a new video, make sure to hit the bell icon. With all that being said, let us jump into today's video, which is kicking off with an unboxing. Now, this movie I watched. I didn't see it in theater, but I watched it on my TV when it was released on digital. And what can I say that hasn't already been said about it? It is a fantastic, fantastic movie. It comes from the minds of Jason Blum of Blumhouse, and it comes from the book of the mind of Joe Hill, who is Stephen King's son. And we are talking about the brand new released on DVD and Blu-ray, not a 4K release, which is really weird. We have Blumhouse's The Black Phone with Ethan Hawke. This movie is fantastic. It was really thrilling, very chilling too. When this first came out, I was thinking about it. I didn't know if I was gonna like it, if it was gonna be too intense for me. But like I said, I watched it. It's from the same directors of Sinister and Doctor Strange, which of course is the sequel to The Shining. But yeah, it's a as it says on the back, a modern horror classic. If you want to pause and take a look. Again, I'm sorry because of my light. I'm gonna try and turn off the light, so if you can read it. So, but yeah, so this is, again, it's only on Blu-ray and DVD. It's a collector's edition. Again, I don't understand why they didn't do this on 4K. I think it would have been perfect on 4K. Unless they're going to do it like they recently just did with Happy Death Day 1 and 2, where they just recently re-released them on 4K. So, there are some bonus features, included deleted scenes, answering the call behind the scenes of The Black Phone, Ethan Hawke's evil turn, feature commentary, and more, plus Shadow Prowler, a short film by Scott Dickerson. Now, what I think is cool about this is that Ethan Hawke is no stranger to Blumhouse Productions or Blumhouse movies, since he was in the first Purge movie. So yeah, let's go ahead and take off this awesome slipcover, by the way, which has some embossment on the black phone and also on the spine as well. And of course, you got your case with the same artwork. Gonna go ahead and pop it open, and again, this comes with a digital code. Giving it to a friend, so I will not be showing it. Now, again, as I have stated in my last video, there is a video that I am planning on doing with this particular topic about how studios that put out Blu-rays or 4Ks sometimes are a little bit lazy with giving their disc some disc art. Um, as you saw in the last video when I did Jurassic World Dominion Steelbook, there was disc art on the 4K, but there was no disc art on the Blu-ray. And that's kind of typical with Universal when they put out disc. And as you can see right here, so we have our Blu-ray over here, which is just like that regular reflective Blu-ray, and then it has the Blu-ray symbol at the bottom with a color. And then over here you have your DVD, which is a full color disc with the with no DVD like logo at the bottom because it's over to the right. Um, so, and then, like I said, this has been done before. Like with Despicable Me 2 and Despicable Me 3, it's usually an orange disc. And I know, like with Sing, it was Sing 2, it was a purple disc and then a blue disc, or a purple disc and whatever other color disc. So, but yeah, so that's your Blu-ray and your DVD. So, now, the reason why I picked this up is, like I said, because this and the movie Freaky is being represented by Blumhouse at Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Studios Orlando and Universal Studios Hollywood in California. So I thought, as of Monday, we have received the full lineup for Halloween Horror Nights in Orlando. And I thought, as my justice to my viewers, if there is anyone out there that is interested in going down to Orlando for Halloween Horror Nights 31, I thought I would just reveal the full lineup where everything is going to be, just to give you a little help and everything. Plus, you can also go to www.halloweenhorrornights.com and make sure to click on Orlando or Halloween Horror Nights Orlando. Just search up in Google, and it will take you to exactly where you need to be to see. So, now, just fair warning, everything that I'm going to be reading is coming directly from the Universal website. So all of the description of the houses are from Universal Creative and Development, along with also like the intellectual properties were all written up by Universal Creative and Development. So I will also do my best to show off each of the logos that I have on my phone, representing the houses and everything, and representing the event. So first, I would like to just show, so this is basically like the culmination of like the main IPs that are representing, excluding the Universal monsters on here. So this is like the IP art, where you have Michael Myers representing Halloween, the Weekend, and of course the Grabber representing the Black Phone for Blumhouse. And of course the tagline this year is a continuation of last year's tagline, which is "Never Go Alone." So that is one of the first things. And now we are going to, I'm going to try and do them in order of when they were released, when the announcements came out. So first up is Universal Legends Collide. It's the Wolfman versus Dracula versus the Mummy. If you thought one Universal monster was scary, how about 3 of them? Summon your Scream Squad, cause you're about to get caught between the Wolfman, Dracula, and the Mummy together for the first time. Now, the whole story behind this particular maze is there is this amulet called the Amulet of Ra, and the monsters are vowing to end their curses that have been bestowed upon them. Um, and the amulet is held by the mighty Anubis. Um, and so the way that John Murdy, who is Universal Hollywood's Horror Nights runner, um, says that Universal Orlando is part one of this story, and Universal Studios Hollywood is part two of this story. So I'm excited to check out this house because this will be my first time encountering the Universal monsters in a house. 2012 was my first time experiencing Halloween Horror Nights, and there was a house there called House of Horrors, and it did feature the Universal monsters in a black and white esque type house. I sadly didn't get to experience it that year, and then 2019 they brought back the Universal monsters in a more not grotesque version, but a more sinister version. And I moved from Orlando in 2019, so I didn't get to experience it then. And then, of course, last year for the 30th anniversary, they continued it again by using The Bride of Frankenstein Lives, which of course represented and showed off some of the Universal monsters as well. So this will be my first time encountering the Universal monsters at Halloween Horror Nights. And this location for this house in particular is, gotta just pull up my map here, is going to be back in the Woody Woodpecker Kid Zone area. It's going to be in one of the parade buildings. So, and next we have a return of one of the greatest slashers in horror history, making his first appearance in 2014. We were welcomed to the white-faced killer himself, Michael Myers, and this year he will be making his grand return as we go back to the original classic Halloween. His beginning is your end. Silent, merciless, relentless. There's nobody like Michael Myers, and if your Scream Squad is ready, this year you can gather together and face the terror of Halloween from the very beginning. Now, what is awesome about this particular house that they're doing is in the past years, they have put Michael Myers in a parade building, in a tent house in 2014, and in 2017, 2018, they used him in the Shrek, in the second Shrek theater. Now, as of course, Shrek no longer exists at Universal. This, as of recently, Shrek 4D has closed. So I don't believe there's going to be a house there this year, which is kind of sad because the Shrek theater, even though it felt tight, it was a good house and it had some good properties be represented in there. So next up is, of course, where we represent the Black Phone, which is with the Horrors of Blumhouse, Blumhouse Take Free, Blumhouse Free, whatever you want to call it. Blumhouse first appeared at Halloween Horror Nights in 2016, I believe. No, 2017 was the first year that it arrived at Halloween Horror Nights, where it used Sinister, The Purge, and there was one more property that Insidious, and so that was the first year that it was represented. Then it came back in 2018, where it used the first Purge and Happy Death Day, and now it's making its grand return to Halloween Horror Nights, and this time they're using the Black Phone and the comedy horror Freaky. Twice the screams, twice the terror. Get ready for a blood-curdling new double feature of Blumhouse horror as your Scream Squad faces a ruthless serial killer in Freaky and an evil kidnapper in the relentless, terrifying The Black Phone. Now, I do have a picture of one of the logos for Halloween, and of course, the horrors of Blumhouse. Now, I do want to shout out Horror Nights Nightmares, their website. There is a creator on there that makes these wallpapers that goes by the name of Gambit. So I am using his pictures, so I just wanted to shout him out. And now we move on to what was one of the biggest announcements, IP wise. Everyone was hyping this and questioning if this was actually going to be real for this year. And when we finally got the announcement for this, social media just like blew up because this is one that everyone was waiting for, and that is The Weekend. And I just love the music. Not the music. I love the music of The Weekend, but I love what Universal Creative and Development has titled this house, and the description that they have given. The Weekend After Hours Nightmare. The music is just amazing. I haven't really watched any of the music videos. Gonna have to watch some of them. But it's music to your fears. You love his music, but can you survive his mind? The Weekend is about to stalk your squad through this haunted house, a surreal living nightmare from his after hours videos. His nightmare is now yours. So there you have it. That is our 4 intellectual properties for this year's event. And now we get into the brain and the mind of Universal Creative, and we explore all the amazing originals that are coming this year. And I read the descriptions for some of these original houses, and they're just breathtaking. One in particular I'm kind of scared about, but I'm going to go through it anyway. So let's kick off with Spirits of the Coven. This one, it sounds really cool, and it's got a nice, beautiful artwork for it. Now, this artwork is Universal. This is from their website, like I said. They're bewitchingly terrifying. A coven of beautiful flapper witches will lure you into their 1920s speakeasy, reveal their haggish true form, and turn your scream squad into a witch's brew. They'll be cackling, you'll be screaming. I love how they're using this whole scream squad as with the like never go alone, because it's a great ploy and everything. And the announcement videos were basically combined into this fantastic movie, and you can find like the full like commercial on if you go on YouTube. So, all right, and next, this is the one that I am increasingly terrified about. But like I said, I'm gonna do it anyway. And it is bugs eaten alive. That's it, just straight to the point. Just bugs eaten alive. These bugs are out to exterminate you. While touring a 1950s home of the future, you'll be surrounded by the slime of bugs everywhere as hordes of many-legged terrors descend upon you and your scream squad. You'll be dropping like flies. Now, what they're saying, and again, I'm not giving away any spoilers. All I've read is that it's going to be a return of a fan favorite effect that has happened in Horror Nights houses. If you read the spoilers, then you know. But if you've been a long-time Horror Nights fan, then you also know what this effect is. There's going to be scents and sights and smells. And from what I've read, they are literally not wanting people to finish this house. Like, they want people to run out or exit it because of just how gross and disgusting it's gonna be. So I'm excited for it. I'm gonna do it, even though I am definitely afraid of bugs. I'll do it anyway. Next, we move on to what is being considered possibly one of the most hyped houses of the event, and it is precisely called Fiesta de Chupacabras. Listen to your abuela and beware the chupacabras. Visit a Latin America village where the legend of the creature chupacabras is celebrated with a colorful fiesta and the streets aligned with the crimson blood of tourists like you and your amigos. Um, this one is really cool. Universal has done this line of houses where it has followed folklore and legends of Spanish descent, and it sounds really cool. And like they've done El Cucuy, they've done La Lavona, also known as the Weeping Woman, and she is actually making a return to Halloween Horror Nights in Hollywood, as just released today that she is making a grand return. So I have really high hopes for this house. I think it's going to be really cool to experience. Um, I just want to say, I want there to be like some smell of margarita and maybe some cinnamon for churros. That would be really cool. Next, we're getting into one of a house that I'm actually really excited for. It is called Hell Block Horror. This is like, from what I'm reading from the description, it's a like rogues gallery of just monsters that are out to get you. Um, as these monsters escape their prison, there's no escape for you. Enter a prison whose savage inmates are monstrous creatures. If they break free from their cells, it's a death sentence for everyone. From what I've heard and what I've read, there's going to be like just I'm not giving away specifics. A nice big rogue gallery from like a book of monsters that you could think of is going to be in this house. It's I just think it's really cool. Now Universal is no stranger to like prison themed horror. One of the like roaming hordes has been like these prison chainsaw gangs and everything. So I just have a really good feeling about this house, and I just think it's gonna be really cool. We are moving on to our final two houses of this amazing lineup. As you can tell, the originals are taking full force this year, throwing all that they can. The IPs are a little low this year. There were some changes and everything. If you know, you know. But you know what? We look past it. We move on. And but the originals are really making a nice smack with this year's event, and I think we have a really good, solid event. Up next, now this is a sequel to a scare zone. It's called Dead Man's Wharf. This happened in the San Francisco area of the park. I think this was 2016 that this happened. It was the sequel to Horror Nights 25. It was Chance's year. So now they're making a house, kind of with the same presence. Uh, Things may be a little bit changed. And I'm talking about Dead Man's Pier, Winter's Wake. You're dead in the water. In a New England fishing village, undead fishermen emerge from the waves to seek their revenge. You and your Scream Squad may have escaped their hooks in the scare zone. Now they'll reel you in and drag you under. This, I think, is going to be a really cool house. I'm expecting it to be cold, maybe a hint of fish smell. Uh, and maybe some there's bound to be water, maybe some snow, or something. I think it's gonna be really cool. The scare zone back in 2016, it was a little meh. At one time when I was walking through the scare zone, it was on a night when I was like so tired. I walked past one of the scare zone's scare actors, literally stared him like dead in the eye, and I'm like, "Can you just do me a favor and just go?" Rawr. Couple minutes, he's like processing through his head. He's like, "Rawr." I'm like, "Thank you," and I walked on. So I think it's gonna be an awesome house. It sounds like an awesome concept. So, and now we move on to our final house, which a lot of people are saying it's a sequel to Seeds of Extinction from 2018. It would be really cool if that's what this house is. I love the setting, and I'll get to it in just a few minutes. So, this is Descendants of Destruction, the final house for Halloween Horror Nights 31. Deeper, darker, deadlier. Careful not to lose any of your Scream Squad behind as you descend the subway tunnels of a deserted New York. Lurking in the dark are hungry mutants looking to feast on the last remnants of humanity. That just sounds freaking amazing. Sounds like something really to look forward to. Like I said, I just think we have a great solid lineup of houses this year. Originals, again, are going to kick ass. Um, and with that being said, we have just a couple more to go through. Because houses are not the only things that Halloween Horror Nights is known for. You have 5 sinister scare zones that you have to avoid and get through in order to get to these houses. And what an amazing lineup of scare zones we have. When you first enter the park, you're going to be visited by a grand Halloween Horror Nights now icon. The Pumpkin Lord is back. The spirit of Halloween has taken over this year's event, summoning hordes of fiendish creatures. Terror has taken root with the Horrors of Halloween Scare Zone. That's going to be down the main production central area of the park right as you walk in. And if you've seen the pictures on Twitter, there's these big huge trusses with a whole bunch of pumpkins, including the return of the fan favorite Little Boo. And there's a new pumpkin now. He's got a little tooth. He's called Little Tooth. So I am so freaking excited to see the Pumpkin Lord. He's going to be out there talking and everything. I didn't get to experience Wicked Growth at Halloween Horror Nights 30 last year, so I am so excited to see this. This is right now at number 1 on my hype list for the scare zones. It's going to be freaking awesome. So let's continue. We got a couple more scare zones to get through. Next, in the central park area of the park, is a Scare Zone sequel to one of the greatest houses of HHN 27, and that is Scarecrow Cursed Soil. At an abandoned farm, scarecrows have risen from the crust of the earth to hunt you and seek revenge. They'll harvest your screams. Now, those of you who got to experience Scarecrow the Reaping in 2017 noticed how awesome of a house it was and how spectacular of a house it was, with its like wall-to-wall scares, sights, and everything. It was just freaking fantastic. And now, any viewers out in Hollywood, your time has come to experience this amazing house, because Halloween Horror Nights in Hollywood is bringing Scarecrow the Reaping to the West Coast. You're welcome. So if you would go and experience it, I can't wait to hear what you say and what you thought about it. You can message me on Twitter. I don't care. Just, it's a fantastic house, and this is going to be an amazing scare zone. Next, we move to the New York section of the park, the biggest area of Universal. And this one just sounds really cool and has a good connection with the tribute store this year and everything. We are talking about Sweet Revenge. First of all, what an awesome name for a scare zone. And this is a scare zone that, if it goes really well, I would love to see it become a house down the road if it is really good. And from the construction pictures and the props that we're seeing out in the New York section, this is an amazing scare zone so far. And I can't wait to see this story evolve and everything. And this is what it says on the website. The sweets from Major Sweets Candy Company have turned children into crazed killers. This Halloween's all trick, no treat, and total mayhem. This is kind of cool because I think it's kind of cool when it's like kids turned evil. And if you remember, in 2018, there was a house called Slaughter Cinema, where it showed a B movie called Shitty's Kids or something, and it's like a dark side of what happens at a children's birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese when they go all crazy and everything, hyped on sugar, and they get all maniacal and everything. This is gonna be so freaking awesome to see how the, like I said, to see how this evolves throughout the year and everything. So, and now we are moving to the Hollywood section of the park, where we have been seeing this cemetery called Nettlewoods Cemetery, and we're thinking it's gonna be all zombies or whatever, or just dark and crusty people and everything. So that's why we have Graveyard the Deadly Unrest. And I think we're going to see the return of the Soul Collectors from Halloween Horror Nights 27, who kind of acted as like the unofficial icons of the event. Just like where in the description for Horrors of Halloween Scare Zone, we think that the Pumpkin Lord is the icon for this year's event. So, now the description for Graveyard Deadly Unrest. On All Hallows Eve, a dark storm descends upon a cemetery and awakens long dead spirits. No one living can escape them. Now let's hope that there really is no dark storm over Halloween Horror Nights this year. Tends to happen, so I hope, I don't want there to actually be a storm. But this scare zone, it sounds really promising. It sounds like it's gonna have some good scares. I can't wait to hear the music that is played, and with the fog machines, with that beautiful Halloween Horror Nights fog, this scare zone is gonna look really awesome. So I can't wait to experience this one. And now we move over to our final location where there will be a scare zone inside the park, the San Francisco section. Now, this could connect with the Secrets of the Coven, House Spirits of the Coven, or it could just be its own thing. And this scare zone is called Conjur the Dark. On the first All Hallows Eve, an evil sorceress called forth monstrosities from dark dimensions. Now your blood will fuel them. I have seen the props that are popping up in the San Francisco area outside of Fast and Furious Supercharged, and these look freaking amazing. Like, there's a big stage, there's a cauldron, there's a whole bunch of ruins and everything. So I think this is going to be a great scare zone. I think it might get a little cramped because the Blumhouse house this year is actually in the queue line for Fast and Furious. Now, there hasn't been a house back there in a long time. The last house that I remember being back there, if I'm correct, I know that they had, in 2014 they had a house called Giggles and Gore. In 2015 that was the last time anything was used back there for Run, Blood, Sweat, and Fears. And that was the dedication house to Jack's brother, Eddie. So, and that was the sequel to a house called Run. So, that, if I'm correct, and you can correct me in the comments, that was the last time that a house was used back there. So it's going to be kind of cool to see it. It might be a little cramped, but I think it's going to be a great house overall, and I think the scare zone is going to be amazing as well. And now we are on to our final two things of the Halloween Horror Nights 31. Before I go into this, I just want to say thank you to everyone that stood and watched this video. Yes, I know this one is a long one, but thank you. Let's dive in to our shows for this year. The return of one of the most greatest shows from last year's event. Now, I didn't get to experience it in person uh, because I wasn't there last year, but I did watch it on YouTube, and boy, this show was amazing. There were some intense images in this show, so as a quick reminder, anybody that goes to Halloween Horror Nights, it is recommended at a high age level. If your kids are comfortable um, with the topics of horror and intense situations, then if they like it, they're gonna love it. There are some kids that go, and the scare actors are absolutely awesome with them. So if you want to bring your kids, go ahead. Just be fair warned. Now this show is called Halloween Nightmare Fuel Wildfire, and this is the description on the website. The show that sparked a firestorm last year is ablaze with a new nightmare. The pyro and aerial performers are back to reignite your fears. Now, this will be in the Fear Factor stage. As of recently, and if anyone remembers, Fear Factor Live no longer exists, but the stage is still used for Halloween Horror Nights and whatever shows. It would be nice to see something else go there after Halloween Horror Nights is over, but for right now, if they continue to use it, it's a great spot. It really gives you an opportunity to sit and relax after walking through the houses and everything. So, I'm excited for this. I think it's going to be a fantastic show. I think it'll be really cool. So, and moving on to, and here's the logo. And moving on to our final show. Of course, as of 2018, the Lagoon Show has always been a sight for all eyes. And it started, of course, with Marathon of Mayhem in 2018. Last year, we saw Jack take over the Lagoon Show with his Carnage Factory. And this year, it's not Marathon of Mayhem, but it is titled Ghoulish, a Halloween Tale. On a Halloween night, a ghost story becomes reality as you go beyond the grave in a sporadically spooky show on Universal Studios Lagoon. And there you have it, folks. We have our event for Halloween Horror Nights 31 HHN 2022, whichever way you want to call it. True Orlando and Florida natives call it HHN 31 or HHN 30, 29, 28, 27, I go on and on and on. This is a good, solid year. It's got a great amount of IPs, again, including the Black Phone, which of course we unboxed today. I am super stoked to be returning to the event this year. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be fun. It's going to be scary. If you're looking for a great Halloween event, and if you have the money and you're able to do it, you got to go down to either Halloween Horror Nights in Orlando or Halloween Horror Nights in Hollywood. Now, I will probably do a video for Hollywood, just in case. Even though I'm not going to be going to Hollywood, I would gladly do a video for HHN Hollywood. Anyway, that is gonna do it for this video. I know it was a long one, but thank you for sticking around. I hope you enjoyed it just as much as I enjoyed making it for you guys. Make sure to pick up a copy of Freaky on Blu-ray and DVD. You can pick it up at wherever movies are sold. And for all of you that will be venturing to Halloween Horror Nights, I will see you in the fog. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time inside the media cabinet. Peace.